I think the big question, though, is what the reasoning behind this was. Was it a concern that NVIDIA and American technology would start to lose out to China if they weren't allowed to compete in that market?
Well, we saw that Jensen and President Trump met in the White House earlier this week. We've also heard senior administration officials say that the decision to allow H20 sales actually stems from the U.S.-China talks that were held several weeks ago, in which China allowed the shipment of rare earth magnets to the U.S., and the U.S. in turn lifted certain controls. It's unclear to me exactly what the primary driver was, and I think we've seen many twists and turns in the chip war, including under the Trump administration. And so we should wait further clarity for the administration as to just how broad the licenses it's going to grant will be. Right now, we've heard from NVIDIA, but not really much from the administration yet in terms of the details.
But the H20 chip was one that's restricted. It doesn't have all the memory capabilities for specifically that reason. We didn't want them to have access to some of the things that could be used for military.
Yeah, that's right. The administration, when they banned the H20 chip, they made the argument that if China was able to buy H20s in the quantities of hundreds of thousands, that this would enable Chinese firms to compete with U.S. AI players and also to develop AI for strategic purposes. And companies like DeepSeek, like Alibaba, like ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, they've signaled a desire to buy large volumes of these chips because they need them. They've already built their AI models on NVIDIA systems, and Huawei, which is the competitor to NVIDIA, can't right now produce domestically the types of AI chips that are needed at scale. It has a small volume of production, but according to Trump administration officials, its production volumes are not likely to grow that much this year. So NVIDIA is still the largest player in this market. Even with its downgraded chips, they're still highly competitive in the Chinese market.
Give us an overview of where we stand in the chip war right now and where you think we'll be, let's say, a year, 2 years down the road, because things are happening at a pretty rapid clip.
Well, I think it's still the case that U.S. firms, along with their Taiwanese manufacturing partners like TSMC, are meaningfully ahead of Chinese competitors. If you take NVIDIA and Huawei, both of which produce AI chips as an example, the fact that NVIDIA is able to sell scaled down versions of its chips at large volumes in China shows that it's ahead of Huawei, which can't produce enough of its high-end chips to really be competitive. The fact that Huawei is also smuggling in still large volumes of chips and components for its chips from abroad shows the challenges it faces in terms of ramping up production. And so when it comes to chips, especially the ultra high-end AI chips that are needed for AI training and AI deployment, it's still the case that the U.S. is far ahead, which is why China is so desperate to import these chips at scale.
And what would happen if China tried to take over Taiwan?
Well, it wouldn't be good. The cost would be tremendous because when it comes to AI chips, as well as smartphone processors, PC processors, Taiwan's the producer of 90% or more of the most advanced chips. We've been making a bit of a progress in the U.S. building up our own domestic capabilities. TSMC from Taiwan has a big campus in Arizona they're developing, but this is still the early stages of what's going to be a very long process of beginning to diversify the semiconductor supply chain. There's still a ton of concentration in Taiwan.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang hailed China's artificial intelligence capabilities, ranging from DeepSeek to Alibaba and Tencent, as world-class during a Beijing Technology Expo on Wednesday. The comments come after NVIDIA said a day earlier that it will start shipping its H20 AI processors to China again after obtaining guarantees from the U.S. government related to talks over rare earth materials. Huang, who is on his third trip to China this year, cited the size and creativity of the market as reasons why American companies would soon be granted export licenses. Numerous order books are now in, he said, suggesting a robust demand pipeline. Orders for chips going to China must be submitted to and approved by U.S. officials. According to industry sources, ByteDance, Tencent, and DeepSeek are getting ready to file applications. However, ByteDance has openly denied making any requests. In order to serve Chinese consumers under the existing trade system, NVIDIA is concurrently developing a new graphics processor, the RTX Pro GPU, that complies with export laws. The stock price of NVIDIA, the unchallenged world leader in generative artificial intelligence, AI-powered graphical processing units, GPUs, surged 4% on July 15th after the firm expressed optimism in a statement regarding the resumption of sales of H20 AI chips to China. With a market valuation of over $4 trillion, NVIDIA is now the first and only publicly traded business. In April, the Trump administration placed restrictions on the export of H20 chips to China. However, with the imposition of President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs, the United States and China engaged in extensive trade and tariff-related negotiations, which resulted in a change in the situation. According to a recent statement from the firm, NVIDIA plans to begin delivery soon after receiving assurances from the U.S. government that licenses will be issued. Since May, the market has been buzzing with rumors that NVIDIA is working on RTX Pro, a less sophisticated version of the H20 chips. According to CEO Jensen Huang, the new chip is a fully compliant GPU that is perfect for logistics and smart factories. It's unclear if Huang was referring to RTX Pro or H20 for a U.S. export license in China. In the first quarter of fiscal 2026, NVIDIA lost $2.5 billion in sales in China and had to write off $4.5 billion in inventory. The company's second quarter fiscal 2026 revenues from China will drop by $8 billion, the management warned. China sales are no longer included in NVIDIA's calculations. Resuming sales in China may provide between $10 and $20 billion in revenue for the remainder of fiscal 2026, according to estimates from a number of investment firms. According to financial analysts, these extra income might result in an EPS increase of 25 to 50 cents in fiscal 2026. As a result, it ought to significantly accelerate the upward potential of NVIDIA's stock. Early in April, the stock price hit its most recent low. After that, it jumped by almost 97%, gaining more than 26% annually. So, what implications does this have for NVIDIA's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on NVIDIA stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now let's get back to the video. NVIDIA reiterated its dedication to ongoing innovation, development, and implementation. Cloud providers have already purchased record numbers of NVIDIA's Blackwell GPUs following the successful launch of Hopper GPUs. NVIDIA is anticipated to start releasing Vera Rubin in 2026 and reveal Blackwell Ultra in the second half of 2025. The business has also made the decision to reveal its roadmap for Feynman AI chips in 2028 and Rubin Next, which will be released in 2027. There is a very optimistic demand forecast that supports the company. Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta Platforms, and Amazon.com, four of the company's largest clients, have agreed to invest a whopping $325 billion in 2025 as a capital investment for the development of AI infrastructure. This is a noteworthy 46% increase in capital expenditures for the AI ecosystem compared to the previous year. According to research firm Oppenheimer, the entire addressable worldwide market for sovereign AI might be worth an astounding $1.5 trillion. A qualitative change from pure-play generative AI models to reasoning AI models is the main breakthrough of NVIDIA's latest chipsets. According to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, despite the market's perception that DeepSeek poses a serious threat to the company's expensive chips, it has really created a significant growth potential for his business. Huang claims that the first open-sourced reasoning model is DeepSeek's R1 AI model. Compared to a non-reasoning AI, this reasoning AI uses 100 times as much computing power. Other reasoning models include Alphabet's Gemini 2.0, Flash Thinking, and OpenAI's O1. According to Huang, businesses who want to use reasoning AI-based infrastructure in order to save expenses and increase profits will find that quicker AI processors are the ideal choice. Because of their lightning-fast AI service capabilities for numerous users, NVIDIA's forthcoming Blackwell Ultra chips are predicted to generate 50 times more income for data centers than its Hopper systems. In addition to the thriving data center and gaming industries, the automotive sector, particularly the self-driving and new energy vehicles, is emerging as the next big thing. Automotive sales reached $567 million in the first quarter of fiscal 2026, a 72% year-over-year increase. In fiscal 2026, NVIDIA anticipates that the automotive segment will generate over $5 billion in revenue. Given the potential for this firm to grow into a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity in the future, Huang is quite hopeful. NVIDIA is concentrating more on powering robotics, driverless cars, and sophisticated driver assistance systems. The business has begun manufacturing its full-stack solutions for Mercedes-Benz, which integrate Drive OS software for next-generation cars with its Drive AGX Orin AI chips. Apart from Mercedes-Benz, NVIDIA's processors are also being used by Volvo and BYD, a Chinese automaker. Additionally, several of the supercomputers made by Tesla Inc. use CPUs from NVIDIA. Additionally, NVIDIA is upgrading and streamlining the assembly line for automakers such as Hyundai and General Motors Co. by utilizing its AI-enabled manufacturing robots. For the current year, which ends in January 2026, NVIDIA anticipates sales and earnings growth rates of 51.4% and 41.8% respectively. Over the last 60 days, the current year earnings consensus estimate has not changed. For the upcoming year ending January 2027, its projected sales and earnings growth rates are 25.2% and 31.9% respectively. The consensus estimate for next year earnings has improved 0.2% over the past 30 days. With a long-term, 3 to 5 years, EPS growth rate of 28.2%, NVIDIA outperforms the S&P 500 index, which has a growth rate of 12.6%. NVIDIA has a return on equity, ROE, of 105.1% compared with the S&P 500's ROE of 17% and the industry's ROE of a mere 5%. Compared to the industry's PE of 39.1% and the S&P 500's PE of 19.6%, NVIDIA's forward PE, price earnings, is 38.7%. On the other hand, the company's top and bottom lines will benefit greatly from the restoration of Chinese revenues. Consequently, there should be significant short-term growth in the average target price of brokerage firms. NVIDIA offers a unique chance to invest in a business that has demonstrated success and significant untapped potential in the AI revolution. Purchasing NVIDIA at every downturn will be wise at this point. Long-term investors should hold on to this stock because of the company's solid performance over the last several quarters and its optimistic outlook for the future, which will increase value. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
And it's amazing to watch him sort of thread this needle between American interests and definitely selling to the Chinese market and the Chinese.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're seeing what you get with one of the world's best CEOs of all time, maybe the best, and the intangibles you get, how he threaded this needle, how he went and did the right thing for the company, the world, and the shareholders all in one. It's really wild. And he turned Trump around, and then he obviously is dealing with the Chinese, and he's hustling. And I've never seen a guy work so hard at just at this consistent pace. And it's really amazing to see, and it's a privilege to know him.
This is for a man born in Taiwan,
right?
There's a nice report this morning where he told some reporters in Beijing that he would love to buy a car from Xiaomi. It's just a different tone, but it's he's managing to ride both waves at the same time.
Yeah, he has a way with people too. He makes people feel special, and Jim Cramer's talked about it, but it really is true. And I think he has a way of rubbing off people, and you're seeing it. And this has been an amazing diplomatic effort by NVIDIA, and it's paying off. Let's hope it continues to pay off. And I'm pretty optimistic that they're getting not only 10% of sales back, but even more. It could be up to 20%. They do need to continue to get approval for chips as we go throughout the Trump presidency. But, I'll never put something past Jensen to be able to do so.
I know you're an equity analyst, and so you're analyzing the impact for the stock and the revenue for NVIDIA, which is all positive. But are there valid security concerns for why these were banned in the first place that will eventually come back and bite us?
Well, look, nobody knows better than Jensen. He says there's not a defense concern, that it's not going to go into weaponry. I think when you look at the chips that are approved, they are prior. The H20 is it's kind of like ancient, but the fact that it's still better than what Huawei has is pretty impressive. And then the new RTX Pro that he put out doesn't have the HBM content, so it really means they're going to use it in the digital twins, in certain industrial use cases. So, of course, there could be nefarious efforts which are bound to happen in some way, maybe, but it's not like they're selling them the best stuff, and they are trying to make the use cases at least pretty targeted, and they're doing the best they can. And by the way, though, what's the alternative? You have a Huawei stack, and everybody learns whatever software Huawei uses and the architecture and starts to design around it. Then they go to Europe and start selling that to our allies. That becomes a national security concern if the Chinese state entity is selling to everybody in the world. We cannot let that happen, because if China's running the AI of Europe and the Middle East, what does that say about the United States? So I think the administration should be applauded for thinking like, hey, let's not give them too much, but not too little, because we can't afford for them to export that technology to our allies.